The story of Rome's founding is as much defined by myth as it is by historical events. While the roots of this legendary city can be traced back to the Tiber River and its fertile banks, its character has always been intertwined with the stories of Romulus and Remus, as well as various cultural influences that preceded and shaped it. As the Roman Empire expanded, these legends and early settlements, coupled with the influence of the Etruscans, laid the groundwork for what would become one of history's most formidable powers. The transition from a monarchy to a republic marked a revolutionary shift in governance, setting the stage for Rome's vast territorial claim and intricate politics. This script aims to explore the multifaceted aspects of Rome's founding, highlighting the significance of its myths, geography, early influences, governance, and initial contributions of its leaders. At the heart of Rome's founding lies the legendary tale of Romulus and Remus, twin brothers born to the Vestal Virgin Rhea Silvia and the war god Mars. According to myth, their life began under the threat of murder, a fate dictated by their great-uncle Amulius, who sought to eliminate any potential rivals for the throne. To escape this dark destiny, Rhea placed her infants in a basket and sent them down the Tiber River. The nurturing embrace of the river brought the twins to safety, where they were reportedly discovered by a she-wolf who cared for them until they were found and raised by a shepherd named Faustulus. This tale not only chronicles their survival and miraculous upbringing, but also symbolises the fierce spirit, resilience, and potential for greatness attributed to the Roman people. As the boys grew, they ventured out to reclaim their rightful place and sought vengeance against Amulius. Their internecine conflict culminated in the slaying of Amulius and restored Numitor, Rhea's father, to the throne of Alba Longa. Envisioning the founding of their city, the brothers returned to the banks of the Tiber River. Yet, a tragic discord emerged between them over where to establish their new home. Romulus favoured the Palatine Hill, while Remus preferred the Aventine. The rivalry turned fatal when Romulus killed Remus in a confrontation, thus establishing himself as the sole founder of Rome. Such powerful narratives not only emphasised themes of fraternal loyalty and betrayal, but also showcased the valour and ambition that were inherent in Roman identity. These tales cemented a cultural foundation, creating a framework that would sustain generations of Roman citizens and fuel their sense of purpose. The Tiber River, a lifeblood in central Italy, played a pivotal role in shaping the early civilization surrounding Rome. Around the 8th century BCE, various tribes began to inhabit the strategically positioned hills and fertile plains along the river's banks. The geography allowed for agricultural practices, fostering early settlements that thrived on farming and trade with neighbouring regions. As groups such as the Latins, Sabines and Etruscans began to settle along the Tiber, they contributed to a patchwork of cultures, languages and traditions, which ultimately intermingled into what would become Roman identity. The strategic location of these settlements proved advantageous for trade and defence. The river served as a conduit for commerce and cultural exchange, linking inland settlements with other Italian territories and facilitating contact with influential civilizations such as the Etruscans. Political affiliations and trade networks began to form amongst these settlements, establishing the groundwork for community cooperation and social organisation. The early Romans capitalised on the confluence of resources and the ability to trade with neighbouring tribes, leading to economic growth and a burgeoning population. This interaction among various groups enhanced their collective understanding of governance, architecture, and military strategy, forming the basis for the city of Rome as it expanded. Through cooperative efforts, the settlers formed an emerging identity, acknowledging shared customs while also adopting practices from neighbouring groups. The combination of these cultural influences fostered a sense of unity amidst diversity, and allowed early Rome to build structures that not only served functional purposes, but also demonstrated the wealth and power of the emerging civilization. Consequently, the confluence of these early settlements along the Tiber laid the groundwork for political institutions and urban development that would define the Roman state in centuries to come. The Etruscans, an advanced civilization inhabiting regions north of Rome, substantially impacted the early development of Roman culture, governance, and architecture. By the 7th century BCE, Etruscan influence seeped into Rome through trade relations, cultural exchanges, and eventual political domination. The significance of the Etruscans can be traced through various facets of Roman life. from governance to religious practices to military organisation, ultimately creating a hybrid culture that propelled Rome's future success and prominence. Etruscan political organisation greatly influenced early Roman governance. The Etruscans utilised a system of monarchs, where a king wielded considerable power, often supported by a council of nobles or advisors. This system left a lasting mark on early Roman kingship, with Roman society mirroring the Etruscan model in its initial monarchy. Moreover, the Etruscans introduced urban planning concepts that Rome adopted, including the forum's development, construction techniques for temples and city walls. The expertise in metallurgy and engineering found in Etruscan culture provided the Romans with the technological tools necessary for infrastructure and military advancement, solidifying Rome's emerging reputation as a formidable power. Additionally, the Etruscan religious pantheon and ceremonies left a significant mark on Roman spirituality and rituals. The Etruscans practiced augury, interpreting the will of the gods through the observation of birds, and other religious customs were integrated into Roman ceremonies. Such practices reflected the Romans' need to balance their belief system with the influence of neighbouring civilizations, leading to a more elaborate spiritual life that honoured traditions and fostered a cohesive identity. Collectively, the Etruscans' contributions laid the foundation for governance, culture, and technological advancements, seamlessly integrating into the schema of early Rome and nurturing it as a burgeoning state. Around the 6th century BCE, as Etruscan influence waned, Rome shifted from a monarchy to a republic, marking a crucial transition in its governance. According to traditional accounts, this change was precipitated by the tyrannical rule of the last Etruscan king, Tarquin the Proud, whose reign was characterized by oppression and disregard for civic rights. The monarchy's downfall was catalyzed by the infamous incident involving Lucretia, a noblewoman whose tragic story of honor and suicide spurred the populace to revolt against tyranny. This revolt laid the groundwork for the establishment of the Roman Republic in 509 BCE, a system that emphasized elected officials, the separation of powers, and civic participation. The Roman Republic introduced the concept of shared governance, marked by elected magistrates like consuls and senators. The Senate, composed of the patricians, became an essential institution that wielded significant influence over policymaking and legislative processes. The establishment of popular assemblies allowed for increased engagement from the plebeians, facilitating a gradual political power shift. This transition fostered an environment where the ideals of civic duty and collective governance became ingrained in Roman society, propelling it towards expansion and unification. However, the transition was not devoid of internal conflict. Class struggles between the patricians and plebeians intensified, leading to a series of social and political reforms. The struggle for power resulted in the creation of the office of the Tribune of the Plebs, designed to protect the rights and interests of the common people. This layer of governance reflected Rome's adaptability and willingness to evolve in response to internal pressures. As such, the transition from a monarchy to a republic established a dynamic political system that accommodated change, conflict, and negotiation, elements that would define Roman governance for centuries to come. The early kings of Rome made significant contributions that laid the groundwork for the city's future successes. Among these rulers, Romulus is the most renowned, credited not only with Rome's initial founding but also establishing its initial political and military framework. His leadership saw the development of military and social alliances that solidified Rome's early power. Furthermore, Romulus established important institutions such as the Senate, which became a cornerstone of Roman governance and societal structure. The creation of a citizen army under Romulus not only promoted civic engagement, but also instilled a sense of communal responsibility that resonated throughout Roman history. Numa Pompilius, the second king of Rome, is remembered for his emphasis on peace and religious practices. His reign was characterized by the establishment of various religious institutions and rituals that enshrined the importance of spirituality in everyday Roman life. Numa's contributions included the introduction of the Roman calendar and the establishment of priestly offices, which underscored the integration of religion into governance. His focus on social stability and legal reform shaped civil society and fostered a sense of belonging among the populace. The last of the 7 legendary kings of Rome, Tarquin the Proud, brought both advancements and turmoil. His rule marked the height of Etruscan influence, showcasing remarkable architectural achievements, including the construction of the Cloaca Maxima, an extensive drainage system vital for urban sanitation and development. However, Tarquin's arrogance and tyrannical behaviour led to widespread discontent, ultimately culminating in the founding of the Republic. The legacy of these early kings, emphasising military structure, religious importance and urban development, remains indelibly etched in the annals of Roman history. Their contributions not only shaped the early fabric of Roman society, but also defined a nation poised for greatness that would influence civilizations worldwide. The founding of Rome represents a rich tapestry woven from myth, early settlement, cultural influence, and the evolution of governance. The legendary tale of Romulus and Remus instilled an inspirational narrative that celebrated resilience and ambition. The settlements along the Tiber River fostered agricultural and commercial growth, while Etruscan contributions forged essential advances in governance, technology and spiritual life. The transition from monarchy to republic not only altered the political landscape of Rome, but also laid the foundation for a complex societal structure that would adapt and thrive amidst challenges. As the early kings provided significant contributions to Rome's identity and functionality, the interplay of mythology and historical fact constructed a multifaceted legacy that transcended generations. The combination of diverse cultural influences and institutions served to forge the dynamic character of Rome, enabling it to rise as a dominant force in the ancient world. Ultimately, the narrative of Rome's founding synthesizes these elements, reflecting the complexities of its birth and the enduring influence it would exert on civilization as a whole. As we reflect on these formative tales, we recognize that the essence of Rome, the ambition, struggle and unity of its people, continues to resonate in the pages of history, echoing through time and culture. The Roman Republic, established in 509 BCE and lasting until approximately 27 BCE, represents a crucial chapter in the annals of ancient history. It introduced a complex political system that balanced the interests of various social classes and laid the groundwork for what would later evolve into the Roman Empire. Driven by notions of civic duty, public service and the importance of law, the Republic was characterized by its unique governance structure, its legal foundations, and the rivalries between social groups. This script aims to illuminate the key aspects of the Roman Republic, including its structure, the role of the Senate and consuls, the significance of the 12 tables, the ongoing clashes between patricians and plebeians, and the emergence of notable leaders such as Cincinnatus, whose legacies have persisted throughout history. The Roman Republic was a pioneering form of government that marked a departure from the monarchical system that preceded it. Central to its structure were three primary elements: the Senate, the popular assemblies, and the magistrates. The Senate, composed mainly of aristocrats known as patricians, served as the principal governing body, providing advice and direction on various matters of state. Senators were typically appointed for life, which allowed for continuity in governance despite the political turmoil of the time. The popular assemblies, where citizens could vote on laws and elect officials, provided a democratic dimension to Roman politics. They included the Comitia Centuriata and the Comitia Tributa, each representing different segments of the population. Magistrates held various ranks and responsibilities within this intricate framework. The two highest-ranking officials were the consuls, elected annually and vested with significant powers, including the command of the army and presiding over the Senate and assemblies. Below them were other magistrates such as praetors, who dealt with judicial matters, and quaestors, responsible for financial affairs. This system of checks and balances, while heavily weighted in favour of the aristocracy, did allow some measure of influence for the common citizenry, particularly as popular assemblies gained ground in the political landscape. Moreover, as the Republic matured, new offices and roles were introduced to adapt to the changing needs of society, illustrating the Republic's capacity for evolution and reform. The Senate played a vital role in shaping the political landscape of the Roman Republic. As an advisory body, it influenced legislation, military decisions, and foreign policy. While the Senate did not possess formal legislative power, its recommendations, and the consensus it reached, carried significant weight, often determining the course of Roman governance. Senators were typically chosen from the ranks of former magistrates, which meant that they were experienced in public service and administration. Moreover, the Senate's prestige was reflected in the immense influence it wielded over political matters, even as its power fluctuated in response to evolving socio-political dynamics. Consuls, as the highest-ranking magistrates in the Republic, held dual command of the military and the administration. They were responsible for executing the laws of the state and serving as the chief executives. In times of crisis, one consul could be granted exceptional powers as a dictator for a limited duration, typically 6 months, to navigate emergencies with decisiveness. This practice demonstrated Rome's pragmatic approach to governance, prioritizing the efficiency of decision-making when faced with existential threats. However, the prospect of consuls wielding unchecked power raised concerns about the potential for tyranny, leading to a complex balancing act between the need for strong leadership and the preservation of republican ideals. The interaction between the Senate and the consuls thus became a defining feature of the Republic, illuminating the tension between tradition and innovation in Roman governance. Central to the development of the Roman Republic was the codification of laws, which culminated in the creation of the 12 Tables around 451 to 450 BCE. This legal framework marked a significant turning point, as it provided a written account of laws that governed Roman citizens. The 12 Tables emerged in response to popular demands from the plebeians, who sought to limit the arbitrary rule of patrician magistrates and to ensure transparency in legal proceedings. The publication of these laws allowed citizens to understand their rights and responsibilities clearly, as well as the penalties for transgressing them. Among the laws enshrined in the 12 Tables were provisions on property rights, family law, and legal processes, establishing a foundation for future Roman jurisprudence. The importance of the 12 Tables extended beyond their immediate legal context. They also symbolized the broader struggle for social equity between the patricians and plebeians. By solidifying the legal standing of the plebeians, the 12 Tables empowered this class and diminished the exclusive political and social privileges previously held by the patricians. The codification of laws contributed to the gradual evolution of Roman society towards greater inclusivity and equity. This legal framework not only influenced the course of Roman law, but also laid the groundwork for legal systems in subsequent civilizations. The 12 Tables emerged as a cornerstone of Roman legal thought, whose principles still resonate in modern legal frameworks, highlighting the enduring legacy of the Roman Republic. The Roman Republic was marked by a series of profound social conflicts, primarily between the patricians and plebeians. These tensions stemmed from an entrenched class divide, as patricians held land, power and influence, while plebeians comprised the general citizenry, with limited rights and political representation. The struggle for social justice began shortly after the Republic's establishment, with plebeians demanding greater access to political offices, fairness in legal proceedings, and protection against the arbitrary exercise of power by patrician magistrates. The most significant point of contention was the right to hold political office. This ongoing struggle led to the creation of the tribunes of the plebs, elected representatives for the plebeians with the power to veto decisions made by the Senate and other magistrates. The establishment of this office marked a crucial victory for the plebeians, providing them with a voice in governance and a mechanism through which they could protect their interests. The conflicts peaked at various points, particularly during the conflict of the orders, a prolonged series of political struggles that ultimately resulted in reforms allowing plebeians access to the consulship and the Senate, thereby broadening the political base of the Republic. The resolution of these conflicts significantly transformed Roman society, fostering a more balanced power dynamic that paved the way for the emergence of a more inclusive governance model. Throughout the Roman Republic's tumultuous history, several leaders emerged whose actions exemplified republican virtues and ideals. One quintessential figure was Lucius Quinctius Cincinnatus, revered for his civic duty and dedication to the Republic. Cincinnatus was a patrician and a military leader who, during a crisis in 458 BCE, was appointed dictator to confront an imminent threat from a neighbouring tribe. Remarkably, he accepted this extraordinary power with humility, leading his army to victory in a matter of days, and then voluntarily relinquishing his authority to return to his farm. Cincinnatus's legacy resonated throughout Roman history and became emblematic of the ideal republican leader. His life illustrated the principle that true authority and power should serve the public good rather than self-interest. Stories of his principled governance inspired later generations and contributed to the narrative of Roman valour, honour and sacrifice. The reverence for figures like Cincinnatus signified the Republic's emphasis on civic responsibility and the moral obligation that leaders owed to the state. This legacy would persist long after the establishment of the empire, influencing subsequent political thought in both Rome and beyond. As such, Cincinnatus and others like him became cultural touchstones, symbolizing the Republic's core values that continue to resonate in modern democratic ideologies. The Roman Republic represented an extraordinary experiment in governance that laid the foundation for subsequent political structures throughout history. Its intricate system of checks and balances, the pivotal role of the Senate and consuls, the establishment of a written legal code through the 12 Tables, and the ongoing struggles between social classes shaped the course of Roman history. Figures such as Cincinnatus emerged as embodiments of republican values, underscoring the importance of civic duty over personal ambition. Through its successes and challenges, the Roman Republic set in motion a series of developments that would profoundly influence not only ancient Rome, but also the principles of governance we recognise today. Its legacy endures as a testament to the enduring quest for justice, equality, and the ideals of democracy that continue to inspire societies around the world. The Punic Wars, fought between the Rome and Carthage from 264 BC to 146 BC, were a series of three major conflicts that established Rome as a preeminent power in the Mediterranean. Spanning over a century, these wars were marked by bloody battles, tactical ingenuity, and a complex web of alliances and enmities. The rivalry between Rome and Carthage was shaped by historical factors such as territory, trade routes, and culture, ultimately culminating in Rome's rise to dominance. The Punic Wars provide a vivid illustration of the nature of warfare in ancient times, and reveal much about the aspirations and fears of the ancient powers involved. This script explores the major themes and events of the Punic Wars, highlighting the conflict's significance in shaping ancient history. The rivalry between Rome and Carthage can be traced back to their competing interests in the Western Mediterranean. Carthage, located in modern-day Tunisia, was a powerful maritime empire with vast trade networks that extended across the Mediterranean Sea. Established by Phoenician settlers, Carthage thrived on commerce, controlling valuable trade routes and resources, particularly grain, which was essential for sustaining its economy. In contrast, Rome, a relatively new power during the early stages of the Punic Wars, was expanding its territory on the Italian peninsula and sought to exert influence over the seas and land around it. The two empires clashed for control over territories, notably Sicily, which was strategically located as a crucial link between Rome and Carthage. As tensions escalated, the First Punic War erupted in 264 BC, primarily over the control of Sicily. Rome's initial advantage lied in its strong military tradition, with well-trained legions prominent on land. However, Carthage held a significant edge at sea, boasting a formidable navy equipped with experienced mariners. The Romans, recognizing this deficit, innovated their naval warfare tactics by developing the corvus, a boarding device that allowed them to engage their enemy's ships in direct combat. This adaptation levelled the playing field, leading to significant naval victories for Rome, and eventually resulting in the capture of Sicily in 241 BC. The outcome of the First Punic War dramatically altered the balance of power in the region, causing further resentment and setting the stage for the subsequent conflicts. The end of the First Punic War was marked by the Treaty of Lutatius, which imposed heavy reparations on Carthage and stripped it of its Sicilian territories. Carthage's loss incited a sense of humiliation, encouraging a desire for revenge and expansion in other regions. This desire was notably embodied in the ambitions of one of Carthage's greatest military commanders, Hannibal Barca. Hannibal was deeply influenced by the loss of the First Punic War and sought to restore Carthage's power. His military genius, marked by innovative strategies and daring maneuvers, would come to define the Second Punic War and solidify the rivalry between Rome and Carthage in the annals of history. Hannibal Barca's legendary crossing of the Alps in 218 BC represented one of the most audacious military maneuvers of ancient history. Following the declaration of the Second Punic War, Hannibal sought to gain the element of surprise by traversing the formidable mountain range that stood as a natural barrier between Italy and his base in North Africa. His goal was to lead his army directly into the heart of Roman territory and strike at their emotional core, Rome itself. The challenges he faced were immense. The treacherous terrain, harsh weather conditions, and potential skirmishes with local tribes posed continuous threats to his mission. However, Hannibal's determination and strategic prowess enabled him to navigate these obstacles, and he ultimately succeeded in bringing a diverse army of infantry, cavalry and war elephants into northern Italy. Upon reaching Italy, Hannibal secured a series of remarkable victories against Roman forces, including the famous Battle of Trebia, where his tactical brilliance caught the Romans off guard. Through the use of feigned retreats, ambushes, and terrain advantage, Hannibal was able to inflict devastating defeats on numerically superior Roman forces. The culmination of his tactics was realised at the Battle of Cannae in 216 BC, where he encircled and annihilated a large Roman army. This battle became a textbook example of military strategy, remaining relevant to contemporary military education. Hannibal's conduct during this campaign revolutionised ancient warfare, showcasing the potential for tactical flexibility and deception when facing a relatively more conventional and larger enemy. Though Hannibal's military successes exemplified his capabilities as a commander, they also exposed the profound vulnerabilities within the Roman political and military structure. The fear created by Hannibal's presence led to widespread panic and political instability in Rome. Various Roman generals sought to respond to the threat in different ways, leading to internal strife and an often fragmented approach to military leadership. The Roman Senate's eventual appointment of Scipio Africanus marked a turning point in the war, as he brought renewed focus and strategies to counter Hannibal's advances. Scipio's strategy of taking the fight to Carthage itself ultimately forced Hannibal to return to defend his homeland, highlighting the shift in momentum that characterised the latter part of the Second Punic War. The conclusion of the Punic Wars saw the fall of Carthage, an event marked by widespread destruction and significant geopolitical ramifications. The Third Punic War, 149 to 146 BC, was sparked by Rome's concerns over a resurgent Carthage, even after the severe restrictions imposed by the previous wars. Roman leaders and citizens had long viewed Carthage as a permanent rival that posed an existential threat, fueling calls for its complete destruction. Led by Scipio Aemilianus, Rome initiated an all-out siege on Carthage in 149 BC. The siege was prolonged and brutal, reflecting the intense animosity that had built up over the decades of conflict between the two empires and the Romans' desire for vengeance. The siege culminated in 146 BC with the fall of Carthage, a moment of unprecedented devastation. The Romans systematically destroyed the city, razing its structures and eradicating its population. Historical accounts suggest that surviving inhabitants were either killed, enslaved, or dispersed. The infamous phrase "Carthago delenda est," which translates to "Carthage must be destroyed," encapsulated the Roman sentiment towards Carthage, revealing the extent of Roman determination to eliminate any future challenges to their supremacy. The city's obliteration marked the end of an era, effectively eliminating a major naval competitor and solidifying Rome's dominance across the Mediterranean. The destruction of Carthage had far-reaching consequences, not only for Roman Carthage but also for the broader Mediterranean region. The fall of Carthage led to a reconfiguration of trade routes and power dynamics. Rome, now unquestioningly the preeminent power in the Mediterranean, shifted its focus towards further territorial expansion. The abolition of Carthage opened the door for Roman colonization of North Africa, and the establishment of new provinces eventually facilitated deeper Roman integration into the socio-political and economic fabric of the Mediterranean world. Furthermore, the annihilation of Carthage served as both a warning and a point of reflection for other civilizations. This period also ushered in a new phase of Roman imperialism, marked by increased confidence and ambitious territorial policies. With little left to challenge its power, Rome expanded further into modern-day Spain, Greece, and the Middle East. The success of the Punic Wars solidified the concept of a Roman Empire, as military conquests were coupled with settlement programs promoting Roman culture, language, and governance. The legacy of the Punic Wars played a crucial role in establishing the blueprint for future Roman expansion. The naval strategies and innovations developed by Rome during the Punic Wars marked a turning point in the realm of maritime warfare. Initially, Rome's naval capabilities lagged behind those of Carthage. However, the First Punic War forced Rome to adapt, resulting in a series of innovative developments that would redefine naval engagements in the ancient world. The Romans recognized the need to enhance their naval power in order to challenge Carthage's dominance at sea. They overcame their initial deficiencies by employing a combination of creativity, engineering skills, and a strong commitment to maritime military service. One of the most significant innovations was the corvus, an ingenious boarding device that facilitated close combat. The corvus allowed Roman ships to latch onto Carthaginian vessels, enabling infantry soldiers to board and engage in hand-to-hand combat. This strategy leveraged Roman land dominance and turned naval engagements into a form of battle that suited their military strengths. Coupled with their well-trained armies, the Romans achieved major naval victories, shifting the balance of power from Carthage to Rome. Battling at sea became less a matter of superior seamanship and more a question of implementing effective tactics tailored to exploit the Romans' strengths. In addition to the corvus, the Romans also focused on ship design and construction, adopting and improving existing designs to create faster and more manoeuvrable vessels. The construction of triremes, fast, agile ships powered by a combination of sails and oars, enabled the Romans to conduct swift naval operations. The emphasis on shipbuilding and naval infrastructure helped Italy develop a maritime culture that increased Rome's ability to control the seas. Furthermore, the development of standardized naval tactics promoted a cohesive military identity, enhancing coordination between different Roman fleets. These innovations had a lasting impact on the manner in which naval warfare would be conducted in subsequent eras. The navy would become a key element of Rome's military strategy, necessary for maintaining control over trade routes and resupplying legions stationed across the empire. Rome's naval advancements also influenced their approach to warfare beyond the Punic Wars, establishing a precedent for future maritime strategy and tactics in both the Roman Empire and across subsequent Mediterranean powers. By showcasing Rome's capacity to learn, adapt, and innovate, the naval developments during the Punic Wars revealed that warfare was as much about strategic foresight as it was about sheer force, laying the groundwork for Rome's unparalleled dominance on the high seas for centuries to come. The legacy of the Punic Wars extends far beyond the mere military victories and defeats experienced by Rome and Carthage. The intense rivalry that defined these conflicts propelled Rome onto the global stage, transforming it into a dominant power in the ancient world. From Hannibal's audacious crossing of the Alps to the cataclysmic destruction of Carthage, the wars revealed remarkable military innovations, shifting alliances and evolving societal values within Rome itself. Naval advancements redefined warfare on the seas, underscoring the importance of adaptation in the face of competition. Moreover, the conclusion of the Punic Wars redefined the geopolitical landscape of the Mediterranean, paving the way for the establishment of a vast Roman Empire characterized by military prowess, cultural assimilation, and extensive territorial control. The Punic Wars were significant not only for their immediate consequences, but also for their enduring impact on future generations, shaping the course of history. As such, they stand as a testament to the complexities of human ambition, rivalry, and the relentless pursuit of power, reverberating through history as a key chapter in the epic saga of Rome and its legacy. In the final analysis, the Punic Wars illustrate the intricate dynamics of competition in the ancient world, serving as a cautionary tale for the perils of rivalry and the lengths to which empires will go to secure their dominance. This series of conflicts not only provides a thrilling narrative of military confrontations and strategic ingenuity, but also offers deep insights into the forces that have shaped civilization throughout history. Therefore, the story of the Punic Wars remains a poignant reminder of the enduring complexities of power and ambition that continue to resonate in today's world. Julius Caesar was born on July 12th or 13th, 100 BCE, into the patrician class of ancient Rome. His family, the Julii, claimed descent from the goddess Venus, which not only elevated their status but also placed great expectations on young Julius. His early career as a politician began in earnest when he served in the military, where he proved his worth as a leader and gained respect among his men. Following this, he pursued a career in politics, displaying notable charisma and astute political acumen. By 63 BCE, he had become a praetor, and shortly thereafter he served as consul. His efforts to implement reforms to appease the common people, such as debt relief and land redistribution, helped to bolster his popularity among the masses. However, Caesar's climbing political ambitions often put him at odds with the Senate, particularly with the conservative elite, setting the stage for inevitable conflict. Caesar's rise was also marked by his shrewd alliances and political acumen. In 60 BCE, he formed the first triumvirate with Pompey, a military hero, and Crassus, the wealthiest man in Rome. This alliance was not without its complications, as the three individuals each had distinct and at times conflicting aspirations. However, the triumvirate allowed Caesar to consolidate power and support his political and military ambitions. Through this alliance, he was able to secure the governorship of Gaul, where he would undertake a series of campaigns that solidified his reputation as one of the greatest military commanders in history. Caesar's ability to leverage political alliances, along with his military conquests, laid a strong foundation for his subsequent actions that would lead to the dramatic transformation of the Roman Republic. As Caesar embarked on his military campaigns in Gaul, he showcased exceptional strategic brilliance. From 58 to 50 BCE, he engaged in a series of battles against the Gallic tribes, ultimately emerging victorious in pivotal conflicts such as the Battle of Alesia in 52 BCE. His conquest of Gaul not only expanded Roman territory significantly, but also augmented Caesar's wealth and military resources, enabling him to amass a loyal, battle-hardened army. His exploits in Gaul were chronicled in his own writings, Commentari de Bello Gallico, which not only served as military records but also as propaganda to promote his image in Rome. As he returned to Rome a celebrated war hero, the political landscape became increasingly treacherous. His rising power began to threaten the traditional structures of the Republic, and tensions with both the Senate and his erstwhile partners grew. The combination of his military prowess and his burgeoning popularity set the stage for political upheaval, the unravelling of the Republic, and Caesar's ultimate bid for absolute power. The first triumvirate, formed in 60 BCE, was a formidable political alliance that forever altered the landscape of Roman politics. The agreement among Caesar, Pompey and Crassus allowed them to bypass the Senate's authority, creating a balance of control among three powerful figures. Crassus sought military accolades, which had been elusive in his earlier career, while Pompey desired recognition for his own military successes in the East. Caesar aimed to gain popular support through his military exploits and secure his political future amidst growing opposition. In this arrangement, the three men agreed to support each other's ambitions and act in concert whenever necessary, utilising their combined political clout to achieve their goals, thereby reducing the influence of the traditional senatorial class. Despite its initial successes, the first triumvirate began to unravel due to various factors. After Crassus was killed during a campaign against the Parthians in 53 BCE, the balance of power shifted dramatically in favour of Caesar and Pompey. Pompey, feeling increasingly threatened by Caesar's rising fame and military power, began aligning himself with the Senate, which largely viewed Caesar as a dangerous usurper. As rivalry brewed, the political landscape devolved into a bitter struggle for supremacy. Caesar's public image transformed as he celebrated his victories over Gaul. In stark contrast, Pompey's alliances with the Senate and his need to eliminate Caesar's influence marked a turning point in their relationship. The political stability that the triumvirate had promised waned, leading to a fracturing of trust and collaboration, ultimately setting the stage for civil war. Political tensions escalated when Caesar's term as governor of Gaul expired, and he was called back to Rome in 49 BCE to answer for his actions regarding his military campaigns. Unwilling to relinquish his legions, he famously crossed the Rubicon River, uttering the phrase "Alia iacta est," the die is cast, symbolising an irreversible commitment to civil war. This audacious move initiated a chain reaction that led to open conflict between Caesar and Pompey's forces. Caesar's luminary campaign against Pompey showcased his remarkable strategic capabilities, culminating in decisive victories at battles like Pharsalus in 48 BCE. With Pompey defeated and subsequently assassinated in Egypt, Caesar solidified his position and control over Rome, rising to dictator. However, this newfound dominance created a perception of tyranny among his political enemies. As Julius Caesar amassed power, concerns about his intentions grew, particularly among Senate members who feared he sought to establish a monarchy, a reversion to the very tyranny they had overthrown centuries earlier. The culmination of such fears manifested in the fateful event of March 15th, 44 BCE, known as the Ides of March. A group of conspiring senators, including notable figures like Brutus and Cassius, resolved to assassinate Caesar in an effort to restore the Republic and curb his widening authority. They believed that by eliminating Caesar, they would not only save their political system but also reclaim the power that had been increasingly centralised in one man. Ironically, it was this act of betrayal, intended to safeguard the Republic, that set in motion a series of events that would further destabilise Rome and eventually contribute to its transformation into an empire. On the fateful day of the assassination, as Caesar entered the Senate, he was surrounded by the conspirators. Despite warnings from a soothsayer and his wife, Calpurnia, Caesar's confidence remained unshaken. The conspirators attacked him with daggers, and history records that he was stabbed 23 times. According to some accounts, his last words, a phrase often attributed to him, "et tu, Brute," reflect profound betrayal as he recognised Brutus, whom he viewed as a son among his assassins. The immediate aftermath of Caesar's assassination was chaos. The conspirators had hoped to restore the Republic, but instead, various factions vied for power, leading to tumult and the further deterioration of the traditional governance. Civil war erupted once more as Caesar's supporters, including Mark Antony and Octavian, later Augustus, engaged in power struggles against those who had sought to eliminate him. The assassination paradoxically opened the gates to an era of strife that would see the Republic's collapse, highlighting the tragic irony that the conspirators had desired the restoration of a system ironically nearing its end. The turbulence following Caesar's death further solidified the perception of him as a martyr for the people. His will, which named Octavian as his heir, set the stage for a power struggle among his supporters and enemies. Mark Antony, one of the leading generals loyal to Caesar, sought to avenge his death while also consolidating power. The political landscape continued to shift as the factions of Caesar's legacy clashed. Major battles ensued, eventually leading to the defeat of Brutus and Cassius at the Battle of Philippi in 42 BCE. As hostility smouldered, the once sacred institutions of the Republic crumbled under the weight of civil strife. Central to the chaos was the absence of Caesar, whose leadership style and authority, though criticised, had provided a semblance of order. His assassination not only removed a central figure, but inadvertently paved the way for a power vacuum that would be filled by ambitious leaders who sought to unify Rome under imperial rule, ultimately leading to the establishment of the Roman Empire. The aftermath of Julius Caesar's assassination triggered profound changes within Rome's political landscape, culminating in the end of the Republic and the rise of the Empire. The power struggle intensified amid fighting factions as Mark Antony sought to assert his dominance alongside Octavian. However, events quickly propelled Octavian into a position of authority, inspiring him to distance himself from Antony by portraying him as a traitor to Roman values, a tactical move that resonated with a public disillusioned by the chaos following Caesar's death. Antony's alliance with Cleopatra in Egypt further alienated him from Roman support and eventually led to conflict. The clashes between these two powerful figures culminated in the naval battle of Actium in 31 BCE, solidifying Octavian's dominance and marking a pivotal moment in the transition from Republic to Empire. Ultimately, Octavian emerged victorious, and in 27 BCE he was granted the title Augustus by the Senate, formally marking the end of the Roman Republic and the dawn of the Roman Empire. Augustus smartly presented himself as the restorer of the Republic, claiming that he was simply restoring order after the chaos that ensued post-Caesar. Despite his rhetoric, Augustus held supreme power and established a new political order that effectively branded the emperor as the chief authority of the state, fundamentally altering the governing structure of Rome. His reign initiated a period known as the Pax Romana or Roman peace, characterized by territorial expansion, economic prosperity and cultural flourishing, which starkly contrasted with the turmoil of the late Republic. The profound legacy of Julius Caesar transcended his life and assassination, for it was through him that the Republic's fate was irrevocably altered. His transition from general to dictator, and ultimately martyr, symbolized a critical juncture in Roman history. However, the question of whether he sought to abolish the Republic and become a king remains open to interpretation. While his political maneuvers intensified the conflict within Rome, it was the actions of those who assassinated him that catalyzed the final collapse of the system they sought to protect. Caesar's life encapsulates the tension of ambition, authority, and the competing interests that dominated Roman governance, culminating in a shift toward the imperial model that would govern Rome for centuries to come. His story serves as a timeless reminder of the complexity of power dynamics, ambition, and the often unintended consequences of political actions, leaving behind an indelible mark on the annals of history that continues to inspire and caution rulers and politicians today. The Roman Empire, one of the most influential and powerful civilizations in human history, began with the transformation of the Roman Republic into the Roman Empire. This transformation was a gradual process that occurred over several decades, but it was marked by a series of key events and milestones. The Roman Republic, which had been in existence since the 6th century BC, had grown increasingly unstable and corrupt, with power struggles and infighting among the various factions and interest groups. The death of Julius Caesar in 44 BC marked the beginning of the end of the Roman Republic, as his adopted son and heir, Octavian, also known as Augustus, began to consolidate his power and lay the foundations for the Roman Empire. Over the next several decades, Augustus would prove to be a shrewd and effective leader, using his intelligence, charisma, and strategic thinking to establish himself as the dominant force in Rome and to create a new system of government that would endure for centuries. The Roman Empire, which would eventually stretch from Britain to Egypt and from Spain to Syria, was born out of the ashes of the Roman Republic, and it would go on to shape the course of Western civilization in profound and lasting ways. The Roman Empire's legacy can be seen in many aspects of modern society, from law and governance to architecture and engineering, and its impact on the development of Western civilization is still felt today. The Roman Empire's story is a complex and fascinating one, full of intrigue, drama and transformation, and it continues to captivate historians, scholars, and enthusiasts around the world. As we explore the history of the Roman Empire, we will examine the key events, figures, and developments that shaped its trajectory, and we will analyse the ways in which it continues to influence our world today. The rise of Augustus to power was a remarkable and unlikely story. Born Gaius Octavius in 63 BC, he was the grand-nephew and adopted son of Julius Caesar, and he became one of the most powerful men in Rome after Caesar's assassination. At just 18 years old, Octavian found himself at the head of a vast and powerful army, and he quickly demonstrated his intelligence, courage, and strategic thinking by defeating his rivals and establishing himself as a major force in Roman politics. Over the next several years, Octavian, who would later take the name Augustus, engaged in a series of brutal and bloody power struggles, using his military might and his charisma to eliminate his opponents and consolidate his position. In 27 BC, the Roman Senate granted him the title of Augustus, which meant revered one, and he became the first emperor of Rome, marking the beginning of the Roman Empire. As emperor, Augustus would go on to rule Rome for 41 years, establishing a new system of government, reforming the Roman calendar, and launching a series of military campaigns that would expand the borders of the empire and establish Rome as the dominant power in the Mediterranean. Augustus's leadership and vision would set the tone for the Roman Empire, which would become known for its stability, prosperity, and cultural achievements, and he would be remembered as one of the greatest leaders in Roman history. Augustus's reign was marked by a series of significant reforms, including the creation of a new system of government, the establishment of a permanent police force, and the development of a comprehensive system of laws. He also launched a series of public works projects, including the construction of roads, bridges, and buildings, which would transform the city of Rome and establish it as a centre of culture and civilization. Augustus's legacy as a leader and a statesman would be celebrated for centuries, and his impact on the development of Western civilization would be profound and lasting. One of the most significant achievements of the Roman Empire under Augustus was the establishment of the Pax Romana, or the Roman peace, which lasted for over 200 years. During this period, the Roman Empire experienced a remarkable era of stability and prosperity, with a dramatic reduction in violence, conflict, and instability. The Pax Romana was made possible by the combination of Augustus's military campaigns, which expanded the borders of the empire and established Rome as the dominant power in the Mediterranean, and his reforms of the Roman government and administrative systems, which created a more efficient and effective system of governance. The Pax Romana was also facilitated by the construction of a network of roads, bridges, and other infrastructure, which facilitated trade, communication, and the movement of people and goods across the empire. As a result of the Pax Romana, the Roman Empire experienced a surge in economic growth, cultural achievements, and scientific advancements, and it became a period of great prosperity and peace, with the Roman Empire becoming the centre of a vast and interconnected network of trade, culture, and ideas. The Pax Romana would last for over 2 centuries, and it would have a profound impact on the development of Western civilization, shaping the course of history and leaving a lasting legacy that would endure for centuries. The Pax Romana was a time of great cultural and intellectual achievement, with the Roman Empire becoming a centre of learning, art, and architecture. The Roman Empire's system of governance, which was based on the principles of meritocracy and bureaucracy, allowed for the selection of talented and capable individuals to hold positions of power and responsibility, and it facilitated the development of a complex and sophisticated system of laws and institutions. The Pax Romana was also a time of great economic growth, with the Roman Empire's trade networks and commercial activities stimulating the development of industry, commerce, and finance. The Roman Empire's economy was driven by a combination of agriculture, industry, and trade, with the empire's vast territories providing a rich source of natural resources, including grains, olive oil, wine, and metals. The expansion of Roman territories under Augustus was a major factor in the establishment of the Roman Empire and the Pax Romana. Augustus launched a series of military campaigns that expanded the borders of the empire, conquering new territories and incorporating them into the Roman state. One of his most significant achievements was the conquest of Egypt, which became a Roman province in 30 BC and provided a rich source of wealth and resources for the empire. Augustus also launched campaigns in Europe, conquering much of modern-day Spain, France, and Germany, and establishing a series of military bases and fortifications along the Rhine and Danube rivers. The expansion of Roman territories under Augustus was driven by a combination of strategic, economic, and ideological factors, including the need to secure the empire's borders, to expand its trade networks, and to spread Roman culture and values. The expansion of the empire also facilitated the growth of a complex system of governance, with the establishment of provinces, client states, and other forms of administration. As the Roman Empire expanded, it became a vast and diverse entity, incorporating many different cultures, languages, and peoples, and creating a rich and complex tapestry of cultures, traditions, and identities. The expansion of Roman territories under Augustus would set the stage for the Roman Empire's continued growth and development over the next several centuries, and it would have a profound impact on the shaping of Western civilization. The Roman Empire's expansion was also driven by a desire to spread Roman culture and values, including the Latin language, Roman law, and Roman architecture. The Roman Empire's system of governance, which was based on the principles of meritocracy and bureaucracy, allowed for the selection of talented and capable individuals to hold positions of power and responsibility, and it facilitated the development of a complex and sophisticated system of laws and institutions. The Roman Empire's expansion would also lead to the development of a complex system of trade and commerce, with the empire's trade networks and commercial activities stimulating the development of industry, finance, and commerce. The Roman Empire under Augustus experienced a period of remarkable economic prosperity, driven by the combination of the Pax Romana, the expansion of Roman territories, and the establishment of a complex system of trade networks. The Roman Empire became a vast and interconnected network of trade, with goods and services flowing across the empire, from Britain to Egypt and from Spain to Syria. The Roman Empire's economy was driven by a combination of agriculture, industry, and trade, with the empire's vast territories providing a rich source of natural resources, including grains, olive oil, wine, and metals. The Roman Empire's trade networks were facilitated by the construction of a vast network of roads, bridges, and other infrastructure, which enabled the rapid and efficient movement of people and goods across the empire. The Roman Empire also established a complex system of banking and finance, with the creation of a standardized system of currency, the denarius, and the development of a range of financial instruments, including loans, credits, and investments. As a result of its economic prosperity, the Roman Empire became a centre of wealth and luxury, with the city of Rome becoming a hub of commerce, culture, and entertainment, and the Roman elite becoming known for their extravagance and opulence. The Roman Empire's economic prosperity would have a profound impact on the development of Western civilization, shaping the course of history and leaving a lasting legacy that would endure for centuries. The Roman Empire's trade networks and commercial activities would also stimulate the development of industry, finance, and commerce, and they would facilitate the growth of a complex and sophisticated system of laws and institutions. The Roman Empire's economic prosperity would also lead to the development of a rich and complex culture, with the Roman Empire becoming a centre of learning, art, and architecture. The Roman Empire's system of governance, which was based on the principles of meritocracy and bureaucracy, allowed for the selection of talented and capable individuals to hold positions of power and responsibility, and it facilitated the development of a complex and sophisticated system of laws and institutions. Augustus's most significant achievement was the reshaping of the Roman government, which he transformed from a republic to an empire. Augustus established a new system of government, which was based on the principles of autocracy, bureaucracy, and meritocracy. The Roman Empire was divided into provinces, each of which was governed by a Roman governor and a network of administrators, who were responsible for collecting taxes, maintaining law and order, and overseeing the provision of public services. Augustus also established a new system of governance in Rome, with the creation of a range of administrative departments, including the Praetorian Guard, the Roman Senate, and the Imperial Council. The Roman Empire was also characterized by a complex system of laws, which were based on the principles of Roman law, and which provided a framework for governance, commerce, and social relations. Augustus's reforms of the Roman government were driven by a desire to create a more efficient, effective, and stable system of governance, and they were designed to promote the interests of the Roman state and the Roman people. As a result of his reforms, Augustus was able to establish a system of government that would endure for centuries, and which would provide a framework for the Roman Empire's continued growth and development. Augustus's legacy as a statesman and a leader would be remembered for centuries, and his impact on the development of Western civilization would be profound and lasting. The Roman Empire's system of government, which was based on the principles of autocracy, bureaucracy, and meritocracy, allowed for the selection of talented and capable individuals to hold positions of power and responsibility, and it facilitated the development of a complex and sophisticated system of laws and institutions. The Roman Empire's system of governance would also facilitate the growth of a complex and sophisticated system of trade and commerce, with the empire's trade networks and commercial activities stimulating the development of industry, finance, and commerce. The Roman Empire's system of government would also provide a framework for the development of a rich and complex culture, with the Roman Empire becoming a centre of learning, art, and architecture. The Roman Empire's legacy as a centre of culture, learning, and civilization would endure for centuries, and it would have a profound impact on the development of Western civilization. Daily life in ancient Rome was not only a reflection of the grandeur of the empire, but also a complex system of interactions among various social classes, cultural practices, and urban planning. The Roman civilization, known for its monumental architecture and sophisticated governance, was the backbone of a society that thrived on trade, agriculture, and military conquest. The interplay of urban design, public amenities, culinary practices, and social dynamics created a multifaceted society that remains a focal point of study for historians. Exploring the intricacies of daily life in ancient Rome provides a glimpse into the cultural priorities, values, and communal ties that sustained one of history's most powerful civilizations. Roman cities were a hallmark of urban planning and architectural ingenuity, characterized by their organized layouts and monumental structures. A typical Roman city was designed with meticulous attention to functionality and aesthetics. The city streets often followed a grid pattern, allowing for efficient movement and organization, and featured two major roads, the Cardo, which ran north-south, and the Decumanus, which extended east-west. The intersection of these roads marked the city's centre, where the Forum was located. This expansive public square served multiple purposes, from being a marketplace for trade to a venue for public speeches, social gatherings, and legal proceedings. Surrounding the Forum were important civic buildings, such as basilicas, temples, and public baths, illustrating the centrality of community life in Roman society. The architectural style of Roman cities showcased a blend of utility and opulence. Romans distinguished themselves through grandiose constructions, building monumental public facilities that stood as testaments to their collective achievements and aspirations. The use of concrete allowed for innovative architectural solutions, leading to the construction of dome-covered buildings like the Pantheon and massive entertainment arenas like the Colosseum. These iconic structures were not just practical, they embodied the empire's might and cultural sophistication, drawing crowds from all walks of life. Additionally, the layout often included green spaces, forum gardens and public parks, which provided areas for leisure amid the bustling cityscape. The dramatic contrast between grand public buildings and humble dwellings of the lower classes underscored the social hierarchies inherent in daily life, setting the stage for the intricate social dynamics of the Roman populace. Public baths, known as thermae, were integral to the daily lives of Romans, transcending their primary purpose of hygiene. They functioned as social, recreational and cultural hubs, where individuals from various social classes mingled, relaxed and conducted business. The layout of a typical bath complex included an array of rooms, such as the frigidarium, or east cold room, the tepidarium, warm room, and the chiasi caldarium, hot room, facilitating a comprehensive bathing experience that appealed to both body and mind. Romans often met friends and acquaintances in these communal spaces to share news, engage in political discourse, and foster friendships, highlighting the bath's role as a vital social institution that encouraged community building. The Forum constituted the civic heart of the city, where daily life transcended mere transactions to encompass significant political, social and religious activities. The lively marketplace bustled with vendors selling produce, textiles and household goods, while public officials, orators and citizens engaged in spirited discussions about civic concerns and community events. Events hosted in the Forum, such as trials, elections and religious ceremonies, reinforced the ideals of citizenship and active participation in governance. Citizens gathered to witness important public events, hence fostering a collective identity centred around civic pride and community engagement. Furthermore, the impressive temples, statues and monuments that adorned the Forum underscored its role as a backdrop for collective memory and a place to honour gods and heroes, facilitating a cultural dialogue that shaped the city's identity. In addition to baths and forums, amphitheatres played a crucial role in the cultural life of Romans, providing venues for spectacles that captivated audiences. The iconic Colosseum, with its imposing structure, hosted gladiatorial contests, theatrical performances and animal hunts, serving as a manifestation of Rome's martial ethos and elaborate entertainment culture. These events were not merely recreational, they were spectacles that reinforced social cohesion by bringing together people from different strata of society. Attending events at the amphitheatre was a source of excitement and a means of collective experience that transcended the social hierarchies of everyday life. The grandeur of the shows, combined with the cheers and gasps of spectators, created a sense of unity, showcasing the Roman spirit of entertainment as essential to civic pride and identity. The culinary landscape of ancient Rome was rich and diverse, showcasing the vastness of the empire and the culinary innovations that arose from its various provinces. Roman meals typically consisted of three main parts: gustatio, appetizers, prima mensa, main course, and secunda mensa, dessert, reflecting a structured dining tradition. Common staples included grains, particularly wheat and barley, which were the backbone of the Roman diet and were often made into bread or porridge. Additionally, the fertile lands of Italy allowed for an abundance of fruits and vegetables, alongside a range of legumes. Fish and other seafood were popular, especially in coastal regions, while meat, though less common, was reserved for more affluent citizens and special occasions. Dining habits varied significantly according to social class. Wealthy Romans frequently hosted lavish banquets, characterized by an array of elaborate dishes that showcased their affluent lifestyles. These meals were often held in casa triclinia, formal dining rooms with couches arranged around a central table, where guests reclined while enjoying multiple courses. The extravagant nature of these banquets was exemplified by the use of exotic animals, intricate preparations, and even the use of spices imported from far-off lands. During these gatherings, entertainment in the form of music, poetry, recitations, and even acrobatics often accompanied the feast, highlighting the host's wealth and status. In contrast, the the diets and dining practices of the lower classes were far more simplistic. The old plebeians often consumed a diet centred on bread, pulses, and seasonal vegetables, with meat being a rarity. Meals were typically cooked at home in simple pots over an open flame, with shared meals serving as a primary means of familial bonding. Rich sauces, particularly gouramon, a fermented fish sauce, added flavour to even the simplest dishes. Street food vendors further enriched the culinary experience in urban settings, offering affordable and popular snacks. The act of eating itself played a significant role in Roman culture, acting as a medium for social interactions, community building, and cultural expression that transcended economic divides, as members of different social classes could find commonality in the shared experience of food. The social structure of ancient Rome was intricate and hierarchically defined, with distinct classes influencing various aspects of daily life. The sub-patricians, composed of the elite landowning class, wielded significant political and economic power. They were eligible for high-ranking positions in government and the military, often living in spacious domus, adorned with artistic mosaics, running water, and lush gardens. Meanwhile, the plebeians, Iosterics, or lower classes, constituted a majority of the population, engaging in numerous trades and occupations such as farming, sales, craftsmanship, and manual labour. While they lacked political clout, plebeians provided the labour that sustained the economy and kept the societal machine running smoothly. Occupations varied based on social class and urban or rural environments. In rural areas, the majority of people worked as farmers, cultivating grains, olives, and grapes. These agricultural endeavours not only provided sustenance for local communities, but were essential for trade with urban markets. Urban environments saw a plethora of job opportunities, with common trades including bakers, blacksmiths, carpenters, and textile workers. Artisans and craftsmen often formed guilds, promoting their interests and ensuring quality standards in production, while merchants thrived on trade, transporting goods across the Mediterranean and beyond. The increasing importance of commerce in the Roman economy allowed some plebeians to achieve wealth and influence, blurring the lines within the rigid social structure that characterized Rome. At the bottom of the hierarchy were the e-slaves, who played an indispensable role in Roman society. Slavery was a widespread institution in ancient Rome, with slaves employed in various capacities, from domestic servants to labourers in mines and fields. Roman society largely depended on this workforce, which was often acquired through military conquests, piracy, or the slave trade. Despite their lack of freedom, some skilled slaves could earn their freedom and become freedmen, who could work for wages and engage in commercial activities. Although social mobility was limited, the aspiring freedmen were often seen as role models for lower-class Romans striving to elevate their status within society. Thus, the intersection of occupations and social classes presented a panorama of experiences, portraying the complexity of daily life that marked ancient Rome. Leisure activities in ancient Rome were multifaceted, reflecting the empire's cultural values and the ways in which social classes interacted. Public entertainment was a staple of Roman life, with citizens eagerly attending events that provided a reprieve from their daily labour. Theatre performances, chariot races, and gladiatorial contests were immensely popular, drawing sizable crowds. The Circus Maximus, the largest racetrack in ancient Rome, was a focal point for chariot races, where spectators would cheer and gamble on their favourites, revelling in the excitement of competition. These events served not only as entertainment, but as tools for the state to project its power and control. The amphitheatre became another iconic venue for leisure. Gladiatorial games, while often violent and deadly, were seen as tests of valour and bravery. The fights were grandiose spectacles, with elaborate staging and a variety of events that captivated the masses. The social dynamics during these events were particularly interesting. People from all strata, from patricians to plebeians, sat side by side, united in their enjoyment of the spectacle. Spectators often engaged in raucous cheers, offering a glimpse into the communal spirit that permeated Roman leisure. In addition to these grand spectacles, more intimate gatherings and domestic entertainment were common, with families participating in board games, storytelling, and music appreciation, fostering bonds within households. In private life, Romans pursued a range of hobbies and pastimes. Gambling. was widely popular among various classes, with games of chance providing excitement and opportunities for social interaction. Literary pursuits also held significance, as poetry, literature and philosophy played vital roles in Roman education and intellectual life. Wealthy households often maintained libraries or employed scholars who could read or recite poetry, enhancing the social and cultural ambience of their gatherings. Similarly, outdoor activities such as hunting and fishing provided avenues for relaxation and bonding, reflecting a connection to nature and traditional Roman values of physical prowess and skill. The ambience of leisure in Rome was further enriched by the public baths, which, beyond hygiene, served as vibrant social centres. They allowed citizens to unwind, socialise and discuss business matters in a more informal setting. The practice of enjoying leisure time at the baths facilitated interactions across social classes and presented opportunities for informal networking. The juxtaposition of the public baths, theatres and amphitheatres reveals how intrinsic leisure was to Roman society, serving not only as an escape, but as a vital component of social cohesion that transcended individual class differences and celebrated communal life within the sprawling image of the Roman Empire. In summary, daily life in ancient Rome offered a fascinating look into a society rich in complexity and diversity. The architecture of Roman cities not only reflected engineering ingenuity, but also shaped the social order, intertwining the functions of public space with the hierarchies of society. The vital roles of public baths, forums and amphitheatres served as cornerstones of communal identity, allowing Romans to gather and engage in pivotal aspects of civic life. Culinary traditions illustrated the varying experiences of social classes, offering insights into the cultural practices surrounding food. The rigid yet fluid social structure inspired aspirations for upward mobility, revealing the nuanced relationships among labour, class, and power in Roman society. Lastly, Romans' varied leisure activities highlighted the cultural richness of their lives, reflecting both communal ties and individual pursuits that unified society in times of peace and prosperity. Together, these elements coalesced into a vibrant daily existence, illuminating the essence of life in ancient Rome, a civilization marked by ambition, resilience, and the enduring complexity of its cultural heritage. The Roman Empire, known for its vast territorial expanse and profound cultural achievements, was also marked by extraordinary advancements in engineering and architecture. Through innovations in construction materials and techniques, the Romans created monumental structures and infrastructures that not only showcased their engineering prowess, but also facilitated the daily life of their citizens. This examination focuses on several key aspects of Roman engineering and architecture, including the construction and significance of aqueducts, the impressive design and purpose of the Colosseum, the intricate network of roads connecting the empire, the Pantheon and its groundbreaking dome, the pivotal role of concrete in Roman building practices, and how Romans engaged in leisure activities that reflected their social structure and values. Each of these topics unveils the ingenuity of Roman engineers and architects, underlining their influence on subsequent civilizations. Aqueducts were among the most remarkable engineering feats of ancient Rome, addressing a fundamental necessity for urban life, the supply of fresh water. As cities expanded, the demand for clean, potable water surged. The Romans faced challenges in accessing water from rivers or springs located miles away from their urban centres. The aqueducts solved this problem by transporting water over vast distances through gravity-fed systems, ensuring a reliable water supply for public baths, fountains, private homes, and agricultural uses. The construction of aqueducts was a sophisticated endeavour, requiring innovative engineering techniques. The Romans employed various methods such as underground tunnels, overhead arches and bridges. A prime example of this ingenuity is the Aqua Appia, built in 312 BC, which traversed both surface and subterranean routes. The most iconic of these structures, the Pont du Gard in Gaul, modern-day France, demonstrates the mastery of arch construction to support the water channel. By utilising a gradient of just a few inches per mile, the Romans achieved optimised water flow, ensuring the functionality of these monumental structures. The benefits of aqueducts extended beyond mere access to water. They played a pivotal role in public health by providing clean water for sanitation and hygiene, significantly reducing the spread of disease in growing urban populations. This infrastructure also facilitated agricultural development, enabling farmers to irrigate their fields more effectively. The social implications were substantial. Water became a communal resource, leading to the establishment of public baths and fountains, encouraging social interaction and civic pride. The positive economic impact prompted further urbanization, as cities with reliable water supplies attracted new residents and businesses. Aqueducts held considerable cultural importance in Roman society. They were not just utilitarian structures, but also symbols of Roman engineering prowess and cultural superiority. The grandeur of aqueducts, with their towering arches and meticulous design, often inspired the admiration of citizens and visitors alike. They reflected the Roman commitment to civic life, as water was integral to daily activities and rituals, including religious ceremonies. The legacy of Roman aqueducts persists today. Many modern water supply systems are influenced by their principles, emphasizing the enduring impact of Roman engineering on contemporary infrastructure. The Colosseum, or Flavian Amphitheatre, stands as an enduring symbol of ancient Rome and a remarkable accomplishment in engineering and architecture. Construction began under Emperor Vespasian in AD 72 and was completed in AD 80 under his son Titus. With a capacity to entertain approximately 80,000 spectators, the Colosseum was a centre of entertainment that hosted gladiatorial games, animal contests, and other public spectacles, reflecting the cultural values and social hierarchy of Roman society. The design of the Colosseum showcases Roman architectural ingenuity. It is an elliptical structure, measuring 189 metres long, 156 metres wide, and towering at 48 metres high. The implementation of the arch was fundamental in its construction, allowing for the support of massive stone blocks and the distribution of weight across the structure. The Colosseum was built using concrete travertine limestone and tuff, a volcanic rock, which provided durability while minimizing weight. The innovative use of the vomitoria, or entrance passages, allowed for efficient crowd management, enabling thousands to enter and exit swiftly, an engineering feat of its own. The primary function of the Colosseum was entertainment, yet the implications were much broader. Gladiatorial combat and spectacles served as a means of social cohesion, reinforcing the power of the emperor and the state. These events were often free to the public, designed to distract, appease, and control the masses, an early form of political propaganda. The games celebrated martial valour and provided a platform for social mobility for some gladiators, while the brutal nature of the contest illuminated the stark contrast between life and death, privilege and poverty. The Colosseum remains one of the most iconic architectural achievements of ancient Rome, embodying the complexities of Roman society. Over the centuries, it has inspired countless works of art, literature and architecture, serving as a poignant reminder of the civilization's grandeur and brutality. Today, it is a UNESCO World Heritage Site and a major tourist attraction, drawing millions each year. Its enduring legacy is a testament to the sophisticated engineering and architectural principles of the Romans, influencing modern entertainment venues and architectural aesthetics worldwide. The extensive network of roads built by the Romans was critical to the administration and integration of the sprawling empire. Spanning over 400,000 kilometres, these roads connected cities, military outposts and trade routes, facilitating efficient communication and transportation. They became synonymous with Roman sophistication, engineering skill, and the empire's capacity for control and cohesion. Roman roads were constructed using advanced engineering techniques, ensuring durability and smooth transportation. The typical construction process involved several layers: a foundation of large stones, statumen, followed by a layer of crushed stones, ruderatio, and topped with tightly packed gravel or sand nucleus to create a level surface. The road network served essential economic functions, facilitating trade and commerce throughout the empire. Goods, resources, and cultural exchanges flowed regularly along these routes, promoting economic growth and integration. Furthermore, the military significance of the roads cannot be overstated. They allowed for the rapid mobilization of legions and supplies, enabling quick responses to threats and maintaining control over distant territories. The roads served as the arteries of the empire, both sustaining its economy and ensuring its security. The impact of Roman roads extended beyond logistics. They fostered cultural exchange and unity within the diverse regions of the empire. The roads facilitated pilgrimage to religious sites, prompted the exchange of ideas, and encouraged the movement of people. Even after the fall of the Roman Empire, many of these roads continued to be used and inspired future infrastructure developments. Today, modern highways often trace the paths laid by their Roman predecessors. The adage, "all roads lead to Rome," encapsulates the centrality of the road system in the cohesion of the empire and its influence on subsequent civilizations. The Pantheon, an architectural masterpiece built during the reign of Emperor Hadrian around AD 126, exemplifies the pinnacle of Roman engineering and design. Originally constructed as a temple dedicated to the gods, the structure has since served various religious functions and stands as a testament to Rome's architectural legacy. Its design, characterized by a massive dome and oculus, reflects both the technical mastery and aesthetic ambition of Roman builders. The Pantheon's design is strikingly innovative, particularly its dome, which remains the largest unsupported concrete dome in the world. The dome has a diameter of 43.3 metres and is perfectly hemispherical, creating a harmonious balance within the circular rotunda below. The use of coffers in the dome not only reduces weight, but also enhances the visual drama of the interior. At the apex of the dome lies the oculus, an opening that lets in light and serves as a connection to the divine. This interplay of light and space creates a dynamic, architectural experience, emphasizing the Romans' understanding of geometry and engineering. The Pantheon's cultural significance cannot be overstated. As a temple to the gods, it embodied Rome's religious pluralism, accommodating various deities worshipped throughout the empire. In later centuries, it was converted into a Christian church, which helped preserve it through the Middle Ages and ensured its continued relevance in the cultural landscape of Rome. The Pantheon has inspired countless architects and artists throughout history, becoming a symbol of Italy's rich heritage and a model for religious and civic buildings around the world. The enduring legacy of the Pantheon lies in its influence on architectural practices far beyond ancient Rome. Its innovative use of the dome and harmonious proportions have inspired Renaissance architects like Brunelleschi and Michelangelo, as well as neoclassical designs in the modern era. The structure stands as a symbol of the Roman commitment to beauty and function, demonstrating how architecture can encapsulate cultural values and aspirations. Today, the Pantheon remains one of the best preserved monuments of ancient Rome, a testament to the city's architectural brilliance and a lasting inspiration for future generations. Concrete emerged as one of the most transformative materials in Roman architecture, enabling advancements that revolutionized construction methods. The Romans developed a unique formulation of hydraulic concrete, which allowed construction to take place underwater and facilitated the construction of structures that were previously unimaginable. This innovation marked a significant departure from earlier building materials such as stone and brick, allowing for greater flexibility in design. The use of concrete enabled the Romans to construct complex forms, including arches, vaults, and domes, which became hallmarks of their architectural style. The Pantheon's dome is a prime example, showcasing the capability of concrete to span large spaces without the need for interior supports. Additionally, the invention of pozzolana, a volcanic ash that improved the properties of concrete, enhanced its strength and durability. This versatile material was integral in the construction of aqueducts, amphitheatres, bridges, and roads, symbolising the Romans' ability to harmonise engineering with artistry. The economic implications of concrete usage were profound, as it significantly reduced construction costs and time. Quarries and transport logistics became less cumbersome since concrete could be mixed on site, eliminating the need for transporting heavy stone blocks over long distances. This efficiency led to a surge in building activity. The principles of Roman concrete have left an indelible mark on modern architecture and engineering. The structural techniques developed by the Romans laid the groundwork for contemporary construction practices, including the use of reinforced concrete. Today, architects continue to draw inspiration from Roman design principles, leveraging the aesthetic and functional possibilities of concrete. The continued study of Roman concrete's durability has also prompted research into sustainable building materials, reflecting the enduring legacy of Roman innovation in today's architectural landscape. Roman leisure activities reveal much about the social structure, cultural values, and daily lives of its citizens. The concept of leisure was multifaceted, encompassing entertainment, relaxation, and social interaction. Romans engaged in various pursuits, from attending grand spectacles and public games to enjoying simpler pastimes such as socializing in forums and baths. Wealth and status influenced recreational activities, but communal aspects of leisure were integral to Roman life across all social classes. Public spectacles were among the most popular forms of entertainment in Rome, drawing massive crowds to venues like the Colosseum and Circus Maximus. Gladiatorial games were particularly iconic, showcasing combat skills and bravery. These events also served as a political tool, reinforcing the power of emperors while distracting citizens from societal issues. Beyond gladiators, animal hunts and naval battles were staged to captivate audiences. Romans viewed these spectacles as both entertainment and a demonstration of imperial power, fostering a sense of shared identity among citizens. The bathhouse, or thermae, represented a significant aspect of Roman leisure culture. These public facilities offered an environment for relaxation, socializing and grooming. Equipped with hot and cold baths, exercise areas, libraries and gardens, bathhouses functioned as social hubs. Going to the baths allowed individuals from various social strata to interact, discussing politics, conducting business, or exchanging ideas. The bathing routine was an essential part of Roman daily life, reflecting their values of hygiene, social engagement, and community involvement. Wealthier Romans indulged in a variety of private leisure activities, such as hunting, dining, and attending private performances. Villas served as retreats for the elite, where they could host extravagant banquets featuring exquisite cuisines. The practice of reclining while dining represented sophistication and leisure. Additionally, patronage of the arts, including theatre and poetry, illustrated the appreciation for culture and intellectual pursuits. These activities not only showcased social status, but also laid the groundwork for preference in arts and literature that influenced future generations. The remarkable achievements in Roman engineering and architecture underscore the innovative spirit of one of history's greatest civilizations. From the awe-inspiring aqueducts that facilitated urban living to the Colosseum's grand spectacles that entertained and controlled the populace, each element reveals the Romans' ingenuity and multifaceted culture. The intricate network of roads connected vast territories, enhancing trade and military strategy, while the Pantheon's iconic dome exemplified the synthesis of beauty and functionality in design. The role of concrete revolutionized building practices, ensuring the longevity of many structures that continue to inspire today. Finally, the rich tapestry of leisure activities reflects the complexity of social life in ancient Rome, illustrating how culture, politics, and community were interwoven into the fabric of daily existence. As we delve into these architectural marvels and engineering triumphs, we acknowledge their lasting legacy, shaping not only the ancient world but also the foundations of modern civilization. The Roman legion stood as the backbone of the Roman military, making it one of the most formidable fighting forces in history. Comprising around 4,500 to 6,000 soldiers, the legion was divided into several units, including sentries and cohorts, each specialized for specific roles in battle. The basic unit of the legion was the sentry, consisting of approximately 80 to 100 soldiers commanded by a centurion. Each legion was typically structured into 10 cohorts, with the first cohort being the most prestigious and containing double the number of soldiers compared to the others. The organization of a legion was not just about numbers, it was a carefully designed hierarchy that ensured effective command and control. At the top was the legate, appointed by Roman officials, who oversaw the performance and strategy of the entire legion. Below the legate were several high-ranking officers, including the camp prefect and tribunes, who handled various administrative and operational duties. In addition to infantry, the Roman legion also had a complement of cavalry, typically added to enhance their mobility in battle. While the primary focus was on heavy infantry armed with pilum, javelins, and gladius, short sword, the presence of horsemen could provide critical reconnaissance and flanking advantages. Legionaries were adept in various formations, such as the venerable testudo or tortoise formation, which provided substantial defence against enemy projectiles, demonstrating the tactical flexibility and cohesion of the legion structure during engagements. The organisation of the Roman legion not only facilitated effective military operations, but also contributed to the cultural cohesion of the Roman Empire. Soldiers from different regions and backgrounds served alongside one another, fostering a unified identity. Over time, the legion became a symbol of Roman might, instilling fear in enemies and loyalty among allies, which played a crucial role in the expansion of Rome's territories and influence across the Mediterranean and beyond. The training regimen of Roman soldiers was rigorous, embodying the principles of discipline and endurance. Upon enlistment, recruits underwent extensive training that lasted for several months at the very least. New soldiers were immersed in the art of warfare, learning how to march in formation, wield weapons, and engage in combat. Physical workouts, including running, swimming, and mock battles, were designed not only to build strength and stamina, but also to instill a sense of teamwork essential for a cohesive military unit. The importance of discipline in the Roman military cannot be overstated. Soldiers were expected to adhere strictly to a code of conduct, and various measures, often harsh, were in place to ensure compliance. Punishments could range from fines to severe corporal punishment for serious offences like cowardice, insubordination, or desertion. This strict discipline was a cornerstone of the Roman legions, as it maintained order during training and in battle, minimising chaotic behaviour and maximising effectiveness on the battlefield. One unique aspect of training was the use of simulations that mimicked real warfare situations. The legionaries practiced not only individual combat but also large-scale manoeuvres, allowing them to perfect formations and strategize responses to different combat scenarios. The incorporation of battle drills helped create a highly skilled and adaptable fighting force, able to remain calm and efficient under pressure, a crucial factor in Rome's numerous military victories. Furthermore, the strong sense of camaraderie fostered during training enhanced unit cohesion and loyalty among legionaries. Soldiers often formed tight bonds with their fellow combatants during the rigorous training exercises, creating a brotherhood that transcended personal backgrounds. This sense of unity proved invaluable during campaigns. The soldiers fought not just for Rome but also for each other, strengthening the overall effectiveness of the Roman military apparatus. One of the hallmarks of the Roman military was its innovative strategies, which allowed them to achieve success across diverse terrains and against various adversaries. Central to Roman tactics was the flexibility of their formations and the ability to adapt quickly to changing battlefield conditions. While they famously employed the manipular system during the earlier Republican era, which allowed for greater maneuverability, shifts towards larger cohorts in the imperial period showcased their ability to evolve strategically over time. One of Rome's most effective tactics was the use of feigned retreats, a psychological warfare strategy designed to lure enemies into traps. Soldiers would simulate a retreat, enticing foes to pursue, only to turn on them decisively with hidden reinforcements. This tactic exploited the Roman training and discipline, as soldiers could execute well-timed maneuvers without breaking formation. The success of this strategy was evident in battles such as the decisive victory at the Battle of Cannae, where strategic deception played a crucial role in turning the tide of battle. Siege warfare was another area where Roman military strategies shone. The construction of fortifications, siege engines, and the utilization of combined arms, balancing infantry, archers, and siege artillery, allowed them to besiege cities effectively. Techniques such as the encirclement of enemy fortifications or establishing supply lines ensured that besieged foes would eventually capitulate due to lack of resources. The Roman reliance on engineering prowess was a defining feature that distinguished their military campaigns. Moreover, successful intelligence and reconnaissance operations played a critical role in Roman military strategies. Scouts and spies were dispatched to gather information about enemy movements, terrain, and other vital factors. Understanding the environment and the enemy's position allowed Roman commanders to exploit weaknesses and plan offensives with precision, rendering them capable of winning battles even against seemingly superior numbers, cementing their reputation as one of the greatest military forces in history. While the legionaries were the backbone of the Roman military, auxiliaries and non-Roman soldiers played an indispensable role in expanding and maintaining the empire. Auxiliaries were non-citizen troops recruited from conquered provinces and allied states. Despite being considered secondary to legions, auxiliaries provided diverse skills and experiences that complemented the heavy infantry of the legions. They were often deployed in specialized roles such as archery, cavalry, and guerrilla tactics, making them crucial on various fronts. The selection of auxiliaries was strategic, with regions known for specific military skills contributing to the Roman military apparatus. For example, The archers from the east and the cavalry from the Germanic tribes were particularly valued, as their expertise filled gaps within the standard legionary formations. Auxiliaries organised into cohorts, typically 1/3 the size of a legion cohort, brought diversity and adaptability to the Roman military. Their integration into military campaigns highlighted the Roman policy of using local talents to augment their fighting capabilities. Moreover, serving as auxiliaries afforded many non-Romans a path to citizenship. Upon completing their service, auxiliaries and their families were often granted Roman citizenship, incentivizing recruitment from subjugated regions. This practice not only bolstered the ranks of the Roman army, but also created a sense of loyalty and integration among local populations, who now had a stake in the Roman Empire. As a result, many provincial regions developed strong ties to Rome, which reduced resistance and facilitated administrative cohesion throughout the empire. The contributions of auxiliaries often extended beyond the battlefield, as they were also pivotal in the maintenance of peace and order in provinces during peacetime. They participated in policing, providing local knowledge and understanding of cultural norms that regular Roman soldiers might lack. Their dual roles as soldiers and peacekeepers further solidified their importance within the Roman military system, while facilitating the consolidation of Roman control in newly acquired territories. The life of a Roman soldier varied significantly depending on the province in which they were stationed. While many served in the highly sought-after legions in Italy or the European frontiers, others were deployed to the more volatile regions of the empire, such as Judea or the Germanic territories. Despite the differences in location, certain aspects of life as a soldier remained consistent, including rigorous training, strict discipline, and long periods on active duty. Soldiers could spend up to 25 years in service, often leading to a unique bond formed through shared experiences among comrades. Daily life for soldiers involved maintaining equipment, participating in drills, and constructing fortifications. Roman soldiers were also tasked with civic duties, such as building roads, bridges, and aqueducts, thereby contributing to the infrastructure of the Roman Empire. This dual responsibility served to integrate the legions into the provinces, establishing a presence and fostering stability, while also providing practical benefits to local communities. In harsher provinces, particularly those marked by constant conflict, life was often perilous. Soldiers faced the threat of insurgency and were regularly involved in skirmishes or full-fledged battles. Such experiences could result in high mortality rates, leading to a somber camaraderie among those in the ranks. In contrast, stationed in relatively stable provinces, soldiers experienced a different lifestyle, including opportunities for leisure, trade, and even marriage with local women. These circumstances contributed to the unique cultural exchange that characterized life in Roman provinces. Upon retirement, soldiers typically received land grants or monetary rewards, which were crucial in integrating veterans into civilian society. Many retired veterans settled in the provinces they had served, often becoming local leaders or landowners. This pattern furthered Romanization, as these veterans influenced local customs and culture with Roman traditions, enhancing the stability of Roman rule. The experiences of soldiers across different provinces illustrate the complex tapestry of life in the Roman military, one that blended duty, loyalty, and the interactions between diverse cultures under the umbrella of the Roman Empire. In conclusion, the Roman military and legions were pivotal in establishing and maintaining Rome's dominance in the ancient world. Their sophisticated structure, unwavering discipline, effective strategies, and integration of auxiliary forces forged a powerful military tradition that not only contributed to numerous victories but also to the effective governance of vast territories. The soldiers' experience varied greatly depending on location, yet the overarching principles of duty and loyalty remained constant, ensuring that the legacy of the Roman military would endure throughout history. Roman religion and mythology were deeply intertwined. The Romans believed that their gods and goddesses controlled various aspects of life, including war, agriculture, and the natural world. The Roman pantheon, or collection of gods, was vast and complex, with many deities sharing similar characteristics and domains. The Romans also borrowed heavily from the Greeks, who had a more developed mythology and pantheon of gods. However, while the Greeks believed in a single unified pantheon of gods, the Romans created a more diverse and adaptable set of deities, drawing from various sources and cultural influences. Roman mythology was filled with stories of gods and goddesses who intervened in human affairs, often with dramatic and transformative consequences. The most well-known mythological tales were those of the founding of Rome, which were attributed to the hero Romulus and his twin brother Remus. These stories emphasize the connection between Roman history and the divine, highlighting the role of the gods in shaping the fate of the city. As the Roman Empire grew in power and scope, its mythology expanded to accommodate new deities and cults, often drawn from conquered territories. Roman mythology also became increasingly influenced by the rise of Stoicism, a philosophical school that emphasized reason and self-control. This shift marked a significant departure from the earlier, more emotional and personal aspects of Roman mythology. The Roman pantheon was a vast and complex collection of gods and goddesses, each with their own domain and set of characteristics. The most prominent deities included the gods of the sky and war, the goddesses of love and fertility, and the gods of agriculture and the natural world. At the centre of Roman pantheon was Jupiter, the king of the gods and god of the sky. Often depicted holding a lightning bolt, Jupiter was a powerful and awe-inspiring deity, revered for his wisdom and authority. His wife, Juno, was also a prominent figure, associated with marriage, childbirth, and women's fertility. Juno was often depicted as a maternal figure, protecting and nurturing her loved ones. Other notable deities in the Roman pantheon included Mars, the god of war, who was depicted as a strong and aggressive figure, driving forward the armies of Rome. The goddess Venus, associated with love, beauty, and erotic desire, was a popular figure in Roman mythology, often depicted as a beautiful and alluring woman. The god Mercury was another prominent deity, associated with commerce, communication, and travel. The Romans also worshipped a variety of lesser deities and spirits, each associated with specific aspects of life, such as health, prosperity, and good fortune. These deities, which included the Lares, the Penates, and the Genius, played a vital role in Roman life, influencing daily activities and rituals. Roman religion borrowed heavily from the Greeks, who had a more developed mythology and pantheon of gods. The Roman pantheon was, in fact, heavily influenced by the Greek pantheon, with many deities sharing similar characteristics and domains. When the Greeks and Romans interacted, they exchanged ideas, myths, and cultural practices, resulting in the blending of their spiritual traditions. The Romans, in particular, were heavily influenced by the Greek mythology, adopting many of the Greek deities and incorporating them into their own pantheon. The Romans also adapted many Greek myths, incorporating them into their own mythology. Roman worship also borrowed extensively from Greek rituals and practices. For example, the Greek worship of Apollo was adopted by the Romans, with the god being revered under his Roman name, Phoebus. Roman festivals and celebrations also shared elements with their Greek counterparts, such as the Greek festival of the Thargelia, which was later celebrated in Rome as the Floralia. Despite this extensive borrowing from Greece, the Romans maintained a distinct identity and spirituality, blending their own cultural practices and mythology with the Greek traditions. The Roman pantheon, while influenced by the Greek pantheon, retained its unique character, reflecting the diversity and complexity of Roman culture. Temples and priesthoods played a vital role in Roman religion, providing a physical space for worship and a means of connecting with the divine. Roman temples, such as the Great Temple of Jupiter Optimus Maximus, were grand structures that served as a focal point for the community, hosting various rituals and ceremonies. The priests and priestesses who attended these temples were highly respected individuals, responsible for guiding the spiritual practices of the community. They were responsible for conducting rituals, performing sacrifices, and interpreting omens and portents. Many of these priests and priestesses were drawn from prominent families, and they played a significant role in shaping Roman spiritual life. In Roman temples, priests would conduct a variety of rituals and ceremonies, including sacrifices, prayers, and offerings to the gods. These rituals often involved the offering of food, incense, or other goods, as well as the recitation of prayers and hymns. Roman temples were also home to sacred objects, such as statues, altars, and sacred books, which were believed to possess spiritual significance. The role of temples and priesthoods in Roman religion was closely tied to the social and economic structures of the Roman world. The temples were a centre of community life, providing a shared space for worship and socialization. The priests and priestesses who attended these temples were influential figures, wielding both spiritual and social authority. Emperor worship and divine status of rulers. As the Roman Empire expanded, the status of its rulers became increasingly divine, with the emperors being revered as gods on earth. This practice, known as emperor worship, involved the deification of the emperor, often in the form of a god or goddess, and the establishment of elaborate rituals and ceremonies in honour of the divine ruler. Emperor worship was a means of legitimising the power of the emperor, creating a divine aura around the ruler's person. The practice allowed the emperor to claim divine authority, reinforcing their position as the chief authority in the Roman world. Emperor worship also served as a means of unifying the Roman world, providing a shared sense of identity and purpose. The Roman gods, particularly Jupiter, were often associated with the emperor, emphasising the ruler's divine connection to the divine. This connection was reinforced through elaborate rituals and ceremonies which often featured the emperor in a prominent role. In return for their loyalty and devotion, the Roman people expected the emperors to provide protection, prosperity, and good fortune. The cult of emperor worship, however, was not without controversy, often sparking opposition and resistance from various factions within Roman society. Despite these tensions, emperor worship remained a central aspect of Roman life, reflecting the complex interplay between politics, spirituality, and social identity. Festivals and religious celebrations. Roman festivals and celebrations were an essential part of life, providing a means to connect with the divine and celebrate the natural world. These events, such as the festivals of Saturnalia and Bacchanalia, involved elaborate rituals, sacrifices, and feasting, as well as games, competitions, and theatrical performances. Festivals often honoured specific gods or goddesses, with rituals and ceremonies tailored to the deity's domain and characteristics. For example, the festival of Floralia was dedicated to the goddess Flora, who was associated with flowers, springtime, and fertility. The festival featured processions, games, and theatrical performances, as well as the offering of flowers and other gifts to the goddess. Roman festivals and celebrations also marked important events in the Roman calendar, such as the new moon, full moon, and the solstices. These events were seen as opportunities to connect with the divine, seek guidance and protection, and ensure the prosperity and good fortune of the community. The Roman festivals and celebrations were a way to express the community's relationship with the divine, reinforcing the bonds between the people, the gods, and the natural world. Through these events, the Roman people reinforced their sense of identity, community, and purpose, highlighting the importance of spirituality in everyday life. In conclusion, the Roman religion and mythology were a rich and complex tapestry of gods, goddesses, rituals, and cultural practices. From the pantheon of gods to the role of temples and priesthoods, emperor worship and divine status of rulers, and festivals and celebrations, every aspect of Roman life reflected the deep connection between the people and the divine. The Roman pantheon, while heavily influenced by the Greeks, maintained its unique character, reflecting the diversity and complexity of Roman culture. Roman worship borrowed extensively from Greek rituals and practices, adapting them to the Roman context. Temples and priesthoods played a vital role in Roman spiritual life, providing a physical space for worship and a means of connecting with the divine. The status of Roman rulers became increasingly divine, with the emperors being revered as gods on earth. Emperor worship was a means of legitimizing the power of the emperor, creating a divine aura around the ruler's person. Roman festivals and celebrations were an essential part of life, providing a means to connect with the divine and celebrate the natural world. Through this exploration of Roman religion and mythology, it is clear that these topics offer a wealth of insight into the Roman world and its cultural practices. By examining the pantheon of gods, the role of temples and priesthoods, emperor worship and divine status of rulers, and festivals and celebrations, we gain a deeper understanding of how the Roman people connected with the divine. From the grand temples to the sacred festivals, the Roman people found meaning and purpose in their spiritual practices. The connection between the people, the gods, and the natural world was a vital aspect of Roman life, shaping their worldview and guiding their everyday activities. The study of Roman religion and mythology offers a fascinating glimpse into the rich and diverse cultural heritage of the Roman world. By exploring the intricacies of their spiritual practices, we gain a deeper understanding of how the Roman people navigated their relationship with the divine. The fall of the Western Roman Empire stands as one of the most significant historical events, marking the end of an influential era and the evolution towards the Middle Ages. This monumental transition, occurring over several centuries, resulted from a complex interplay of internal decline and external pressures. A multitude of factors contributed to this process, including economic problems and rampant inflation, barbarian invasions coupled with key battles, the deterioration of Roman legions, and the role of corrupt emperors. Ultimately, these elements coalesced into the sack of Rome and the final collapse that culminated in 476 AD, when the last Roman emperor, Romulus Augustulus, was deposed. This script will explore these key aspects in detail, shedding light on how they collectively led to the downfall of one of history's greatest empires. Economic problems and inflation. The economic backdrop of the Western Roman Empire during its decline is characterized by systemic issues that progressively undermined its stability. By the 3rd century AD, the empire faced severe fiscal distress, largely driven by a combination of overspending on military campaigns and a dwindling tax base. The once prosperous provinces found it increasingly difficult to pay taxes due to rampant inflation and devaluation of currency. As the empire expanded, maintaining such a vast territory became increasingly costly, resulting in a reliance on plunder and tribute that could not sustain the economic demands of governance. Additionally, the increasing debasement of coinage, where silver was replaced with lesser metals, led to a significant drop in trust in the currency, fueling further inflation and exacerbating the financial crisis. Another significant factor contributing to economic decline was the lack of technological advancement. While other regions of the world were experiencing agricultural and industrial revolutions, Roman society became stagnant, primarily relying on slave labour, which disincentivized innovation. The resultant inefficiencies contributed to a decline in agricultural production, and consequently, food shortages that plagued urban centres. Furthermore, as provincial territories became less integrated economically, trade routes deteriorated, leading to regional disparities and contributing to the overall economic malaise of the empire. The repercussions of these economic troubles also resonated socially and politically. As the wealth gap widened, social unrest grew, leading to civil strife and a lack of loyalty among the populace. The increasing reliance on military solutions and the mercenary system further strained the economy, as the empire found it difficult to pay their soldiers, leading to a reliance on barbarian tribes that could offer temporary solutions but ultimately became adversaries. This vicious cycle of economic instability cultivated an environment ripe for manipulation by unscrupulous leaders, prompting a cascade of failures that would ultimately contribute to the empire's downfall. As inflation soared and financial integrity eroded, Roman officials were left scrambling for solutions. Emperors resorted to heavy taxation and confiscation of property from the wealthy to balance the budget, but these measures often backfired, leading to more civic discontent and flight from the cities. The collapse of the economic structure not only weakened the Western Roman Empire internally, but also diminished its ability to repel external threats, paving the way for the destabilizing invasions that would follow. The Western Roman Empire faced relentless pressure from various barbarian tribes that exploited its weakened state. Throughout the 4th and 5th centuries AD, tribes such as the Visigoths, Vandals, Ostrogoths, and Huns launched a series of invasions, fundamentally altering the course of Roman history. The monumental defeat at the Battle of Adrianople in 378 AD marked a significant turning point, where the Eastern Roman Emperor Valens faced the Visigoths and suffered a catastrophic loss that underscored the diminished strength of Roman legions. This battle not only showcased the military weaknesses of Rome, but also emboldened other barbarian groups, setting a dangerous precedent for subsequent invasions. The pressure mounted further with the migration and incursions of the Huns, who pushed several groups into Roman territories. The sack of Rome in 410 AD by the Visigoth king Alaric I was a historic event that sent shockwaves throughout the empire, symbolising the crumbling authority of Roman power. While it was a psychological blow to the Roman populace, it also served to legitimise the idea that Rome could be breached, emboldening other tribes to pursue their own ambitions against the empire. Each incursion and episode of conflict showcased not only the desperation of a once mighty civilization, but also the resilience and tactical capability of the barbarian forces, who adapted and exploited weaknesses to achieve victory. The battles fought during this period were often characterized by a mixture of traditional Roman strategies and guerrilla tactics employed by the invading tribes. The inability of the Romans to unify their military forces and effectively respond to the multifaceted threats posed by varied barbarian tribes led to a series of disastrous confrontations. The engagements became increasingly desperate. The Battle of the Catalaunian Plains in 451 AD saw the Romans aligning with the Visigoths against the Huns, reflecting the chaos of alliances and rivalries that defined this era. Nevertheless, even victories were bittersweet, as they came at a high cost, further draining resources and morale. As barbarian chieftains carved out territories, the notion of Roman identity began to shift too. With the Western Roman Empire straining against both internal decay and external threats, the fierce tribal leaders filled power vacuums and often saw themselves as the rightful rulers of the lands once controlled by Rome. The establishment of various successor kingdoms effectively marked the dissolution of Roman authority in the West, heralding a new era distinctly different from the imperial zenith. The impact of these invasions and battles was profound. They not only destabilized the military and political landscape, but also initiated a transformation that would shape the demographics and culture of Europe for centuries. The Roman legions, once the pride of the empire and a symbol of military might, encountered a significant decline during the later years, directly impacting the empire's ability to defend its borders and maintain control over its territories. The gradual shift from a citizen-soldier army, composed primarily of Roman citizens, to a military force increasingly reliant on mercenaries and barbarian recruits, highlighted a profound systemic change. By the 4th and 5th centuries AD, many legions were no longer composed of loyal citizens who had a vested interest in the empire's survival. Instead, they were filled with foreign soldiers motivated by pay rather than loyalty, making it difficult for Rome to sustain its military integrity. Additionally, the training and discipline that characterized the traditional Roman legions began to wane. As recruitment became increasingly challenging, due to a lack of willing citizens and the resentment felt by various conquered peoples, the quality of soldiers deteriorated. Military commanders often struggled to maintain effective leadership and strategy in the face of a complex and shifting battlefield. Instead of rigorous training and reliability, the military became a collection of loosely aligned forces prone to defection and lacking the cohesion that had once defined Roman military campaigns. The civil wars that punctuated this period of decline further undermined the legions while instigating infighting and competition among factions that weakened overall loyalty to the Roman state. Discipline weakened as economic hardships permeated the ranks. Soldiers faced delays in pay, inadequate supplies, and poor living conditions, creating a recipe for dissatisfaction and rebellion. The reliance on barbarian recruits exacerbated the situation, leading to divisions within the military. As foreign mercenaries began to question the motivations behind their service, they became less reliable, and loyalty to command structures eroded. The Battle of the Frigidus in 394 AD highlighted these issues. The final straw came in the form of the sack of Rome in 410 AD, and in the years that followed as the empire's borders became increasingly porous. The inability of the Roman military to defend against invading tribes underlined the profound weakening of what had once been an indomitable force. As cities fell and territories were lost, the very idea of Roman legions as formidable protectors crumbled, diminishing the empire's authority and leaving it vulnerable. This militaristic decline heightened the atmosphere of despair and instability, laying the groundwork for eventual collapse, as citizens lost faith in a military that had once been the foundation of Roman power and masculinity. Central to the decline of the Western Roman Empire was the pervasive corruption that crippled its political class. The role of emperors evolved significantly over time. Once seen as the embodiment of Roman virtue and leadership, many later emperors became emblematic of self-serving ambition and decadence. The political landscape was marked by intrigue, violence, and power struggles, often resulting in short reigns and assassinations. This pervasive corruption contributed to crumbling authority, with emperors prioritizing personal wealth and privilege over the well-being of the empire they led. Emperors such as Nero, Caligula, and later those like Honorius and Valentinian III epitomized this fall from grace. Rather than addressing systemic issues within the empire or managing external threats, many leaders focused on extravagant displays of wealth, which served to alienate the populace and erode the legitimacy of the imperial office. The consequent neglect of important governance issues ultimately allowed the empire to fester with discontent. Resources intended for military campaigns and infrastructure found their way into lavish personal projects or became victims of embezzlement, leading to a decline in statesmanship that could have provided the stability and continuity necessary to weather the impending storm. Political corruption manifested itself in various ways, from bribery and nepotism to the manipulation of military forces. Generals loyal to the emperors were often tasked with maintaining order in an increasingly volatile empire, yet they too fell prey to corruption, or were swayed to pursue personal ambitions rather than serve the state. The result was a fragmented military leadership, where alliances shifted rapidly and loyalty became conditional. Civil wars often erupted as powerful generals sought to capitalize on the weakness of an emperor, thus drawing resources that could have been used for defense or public service. The sack of Rome in 410 AD can be seen as a direct result of this pervasive corruption. The citizens of Rome, already demoralized by mismanagement, could no longer rely on their leaders to offer protection from the barbarian invasions that were seemingly on the rise. Emperors promoted their close allies and protected their interests rather than promoting figures who understood the complexities of governance and military affairs. The inability to present a united front against external threats directly contributed to the empire's eventual downfall, as the leadership failed to inspire loyalty or provide effective governance. As internal corruption grew unchecked, the cohesiveness of the empire disintegrated, reflecting a profound moral and ethical degradation that ultimately proved to be one of the decisive factors in its collapse. The culmination of the myriad challenges faced by the Western Roman Empire manifested dramatically in the sack of Rome and its eventual collapse in 476 AD. Alaric Throm and his Visigoth forces descended upon the city in 410 AD, marking the first time in over 800 years that Rome had fallen to an enemy. The psychological impact of this event was immense. It shone a glaring light on the empire's vulnerability and weakness. In the aftermath of the sack, a wave of despair swept through the Roman populace. The city that had stood as the heart of a vast empire was now subject to foreign domination. This event shattered the perception of invulnerability that had long surrounded Rome and set a precedent for further incursions by other barbarian tribes. In the following decades, the political landscape of the Western Roman Empire continued to unravel. The leadership of Rome became disjointed, with various warlords establishing themselves in different regions, often neglecting the Italian heartland. The inability of the ruling class to unite against external threats reflected a broader fragmentation within the empire. The final blow came not only from external invasions, but also from the diminishing authority of the emperors, who were themselves increasingly seen as impotent figures, unable to inspire or lead effectively. The ultimate deposition of Romulus Augustulus in 476 AD by the Germanic chieftain Odoacer is often cited as the definitive end of the Western Roman Empire. The significance of 476 AD goes beyond the mere deposition of an emperor. It represented a fundamental shift in the governing systems of Europe. With the fall of Romulus Augustulus, the idea of a central Roman authority dissipated, replaced by the emergence of various kingdoms ruled by barbarian chieftains. This transition heralded the formation of new cultural identities and political structures, laying the groundwork for the rise of medieval Europe. The fall of Rome did not denote the end of Roman culture or influence. Rather, it served as a defining moment that catalyzed the evolution of European civilization. In understanding the fall of the Western Roman Empire, one must recognize the multifaceted nature of its decline. It was the combination of severe economic troubles, relentless barbarian invasions, weakened military forces, and corrupt leadership that all contributed to the collapse of this once mighty empire. The echoes of Rome's fall reverberated across history, shaping the course of European development. The collapse of the Western Roman Empire remains a complex narrative, woven from myriad threads, each one essential in painting the picture of a civilization that transitioned from power to decline, demonstrating that even the mightiest empires are not immune to the forces of change and decay. The Eastern Roman Empire, often referred to as the Byzantine Empire, emerges as one of the most astonishing civilizations in history, distinguished both by its longevity and its profound influence on the cultural and political trajectories of Europe and Asia. Spanning over a millennium, From the fall of the Western Roman Empire in the 5th century until the fall of Constantinople in 1453, Byzantium managed to preserve and adapt the legacy of ancient Rome, while simultaneously becoming a vibrant centre of theology, art and law. This script will explore key facets of Byzantine life, including the factors that contributed to the survival of the Eastern Roman Empire, the architectural and cultural splendour of Constantinople, the momentous reign of Emperor Justinian and his legal reforms, the rich tapestry of Byzantine culture and art, and the tragic yet transformative fall of Constantinople. The survival of the Eastern Roman Empire can be understood through a multifaceted lens encompassing military strategy, economic resilience, and cultural adaptability. Following the collapse of the Western Roman Empire in 476 AD, the eastern half continued to thrive. It inherited a robust administrative structure that was the legacy of Roman governance. The bureaucratic system in Byzantium was more sophisticated than in the West, allowing for a degree of flexibility that enabled it to effectively manage diverse populations across its vast territories. One of the critical factors that contributed to the Byzantine Empire's survival was its strategic heart, the city of Constantinople, which acted not only as a political centre, but also as a thriving commercial hub. Its geographical positioning on the Bosporus Strait allowed for control over key trade routes between Europe and Asia, enhancing its wealth and stability. The city's defences, including the formidable Theodosian walls, enabled it to endure numerous sieges, withstanding assaults from various invading forces throughout its history. In addition to military might and trade, the Eastern Roman Empire maintained its identity through a strong religious framework. The rise of Christianity, particularly Eastern Orthodoxy, provided a unifying force for the diverse populations within the empire. The Church not only served religious purposes but also influenced governance, embodying a significant degree of authority that often rivaled that of the emperor. Building alliances through marriage and diplomacy with neighbouring powers further bolstered the empire's stability. The Byzantines adeptly navigated complex relationships with emerging states, utilising both warfare and negotiation to maintain their territorial integrity. Throughout its existence, the Byzantine Empire also demonstrated a remarkable capacity for adaptation. Under external pressures, the empire restructured its military and economic policies, embracing innovations such as the use of Greek fire in naval battles and the reinvigorating of agricultural practices to ensure food security. Furthermore, the ability to incorporate varied cultural elements into a cohesive social framework enabled the empire to endure through fluctuations and challenges that would have otherwise destabilised a lesser-known power. Thus, the Eastern Roman Empire's survival through centuries of tumult speaks volumes about its resilience and strategic sophistication. Constantinople, known as the Queen of Cities, represents the pinnacle of Byzantine civilization and its enduring legacy. Founded by Emperor Constantine the Great in 330 AD, this city was not merely a political centre. It was a vibrant beacon of culture,